Hello, beautiful humans. This is going to be a quick Chandra Namaskar Moon Salutation sequence with a little restorative at the end. So if you want something with more cues, I'll link a longer Moon Salutation class here on the page down below. And when you're ready, you can also pause this video if you need to grab a bolster, some pillows, or stacked blankets. We'll use those in a bit. Otherwise, inhale, reach up. Exhale up and over to one side or the other. Inhale to reach up and exhale to the other side. Inhale back up and then exhale, step feet apart. Now I forget to do a couple things here, but you'll figure it out later on. You'll get a chance. So triangle pose, turn your right toes out, left toes forward, reach to the right, and then right hand low, left hand high. And then step your feet quite closer as if they were on skis, and hands to your hips. Hips are square. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold a bit. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale to fold, just to comfort for you. So it might be very different than what I'm doing here. We're all very different people, so you could bend the knees if you need. We're going to step that back leg back and drop the knee down if you can. Reach the arms up if you're able, and then you might lift the knee up if you can and clasp hands behind, whether you have the knee lifted or lowered. Of course, everything is optional, so do only what you can. The practice may or may not be for you today or tonight. And then half yogi squat to the right, up and over to the other side, but full yogi squat malasana, just as low as you can with heels grounded. Might not be very low, it's okay. Step feet back apart and then half yogi squat to the left. Feet are grounded. And then turning all the way to the left now, left foot forward, right foot back. For that lunge, you could have the back knee lifted or lowered, maybe hands clasped behind. Deep breaths here, into and back out through your nose. You might like to bring the knee down just to change what you're doing or the way that you're doing it, and reach the arms up if you're able. You could always do hand to belly or heart, or hands on blocks or the ground. And then back foot's going to step up about halfway into that pyramid pose again, as if feet were on skis. Again, you might only bend like halfway. The knees might need to bend, or you could straighten if you're able to. Deep breaths here, making sure everything feels comfortable and safe in your body. Just when you're ready, step that back foot back wide, triangle pose to the other side. One hand low, other hand high. Breathe deeply here. Don't go any lower than you're able to still breathe. And then come back up right here for what we missed, a 5-pointed star. And then goddess pose, so bending the arms and legs, maybe circling the wrists or kind of leaning side to side. Then scoop the energy all the way over to the other side of the mat. Hands at heart center, perhaps. Take a deep breath. And when you're ready, second side. Inhale to reach up. Exhale up and over to one side or the other. Inhale back up. Exhale to the other side. Inhale back up. Exhale, step wide. 5-pointed star. Really stretch big here. Imagine a big light burning from the center of your chest. And then bend the arms and legs if you want. Eagle arms if you know those. Or you could give yourself a hug. Just switch which arm is on top after a breath or two. And then when you're ready, you could do these little kind of teapot tips side to side. Maybe reaching the top arm overhead. And then triangle pose. Trikonasana. Deep breaths. Soften here, no force, no strain. Coming all the way back upright and then turn. Pyramid pose. So feet step closer, and you're really, the weight's in the heels. I'm taking a reverse prayer here, but you might just rest your hands at your low back, or hands to hips, or clasp, or you can bring hands to the front leg or to the floor or blocks. Another deep breath here. And then step that foot back, drop the back knee down, maybe reach the arms up, and then option to take a twist. So if left foot's forward, we're stepping to the, or twisting to the left, then maybe reach the front arm up, back arm can relax. for a breath. And then half yogi squat, maybe taking it different than the first time. So first time feet were planted. This time maybe you pop heel and toes up. And up and over to the other side, but full yogi squat, so stepping that foot across for a moment. And the practice isn't always for everyone. Not every practice is for everyone on every day, so just really honoring your own body, whatever it looks like for you. This is going really quickly as well, so it's okay if it's kind of awkward and fumbly to try to keep up. Half yogi squat to the second side if you're still with us, and no rush. Maybe you can play this on like a slower speed, or just pause it when you need, or catch up when you're able to. I'm going to turn back to the right for that low lunge. So dropping the back knee if that feels safe for you, reaching the arms up, and then twisting to the right. Reach the hands apart, stretch the fingers, deep breath. And if you want, back arm relaxes, look forward, front arm reaches up. Reach the hands away from one another, deep breath. And then back foot's going to step about, crescent lunge. Back knee can lift here for a deep breath or two. And then pyramid pose. Step the back foot up halfway. Wherever you're able to keep the hips square. So maybe hands to hips or behind the back, or they can reach in front. Lengthening the spine as you breathe in, softening as you breathe out. So again, you might not fold very deep at all. Some folks have been practicing for a really, really long time. Other folks are brand new. We're all somewhere different. Sometimes we have injuries. No worries. Triangle pose is where we're going from here. Just for a breath or two, you might be able to look up if that's okay with the neck, lengthening your spine. And then goddess pose, bending the knees and elbows, maybe wiggling, circling wrists, and shifting the hips around side to side or front to back, or kind of circling around, bringing some mobility and flexibility there. And maybe hands to heart for a breath or anything else that feels good. And then big stretch the arms and legs straight, and then scoop the energy back over to the other side that you started on. Maybe hands at heart. I'm in lotus here with the fingers, lotus mudra. You can look that up if you're interested, and bring hands back to your heart just in gratitude for a breath or two. And then we can grab your bolster or pillows or blankets. So again, here you can pause if you need to grab those things. So I have a bolster, but you could certainly stack pillows, stack blankets, or a combination, whatever you need. Restorative child's pose. You might need an extra cushion under your knees or behind your knees. Hips sink back to the heels, and then you could rest. I'm resting just my upper chest and shoulders and head, but you might really hug the bolster down low, take your knees wide, and even let your chest or belly rest on the bolster. So we're all going to be different in that, but find a place you can melt here and breathe deeply into, back out through your nose. Making any adjustments that you need to be able to sink deeper, to soften, to really allow a little bit of a stretch, but a great amount of rest. So arms can come anywhere that feels helpful to you, reached out or down a little closer to the body, or draped along the sides. It's okay to get a bit picky and experiment, but just soften and breathe here. As long as it feels okay, just keep dropping in deeper with every breath. If you had your head turned to one side, if it feels safe, you might turn your head off to the other side. It's okay with the neck. You can make any adjustments that you need to really feel this stretch into the lats, the lateral lines of the body, the sides of the body. Breath into in between the ribs, shoulders. Have a wonderful stretch here. Spine is long and supported. As long as your ankles and knees and hips feel okay, as long as everything feels safe, just deep breaths. Everything is optional. You can stay here as long as this shape serves you. Take your time, slow, deep breaths whenever you happen to be ready to come out. We're not going too far away from where we were from here. You could even stay in that child's pose shape if you wanted to, or lay yourself out long. Either way, we're going to experiment with laying the triceps and the forehead on your support. So again, you might have to work with this a bit to figure it out. If you're laying out long, you want to, either way, you really want to lengthen yourself out as much as you possibly can. Make sure everything feels supported and aligned, and make sure you're able to breathe so your nose isn't on that support, just the forehead, the back of the arms. Everything is lengthened out, so it's just this very subtle, like Superman stretch or shape. Hopefully it's feeling helpful to you. It feels okay in your low back. You might take the variation, rather than arms just draped, you might bring them closer together, and prayer hands. Then bend the elbows. Keep lengthening the legs out. The spine is supported. Deep breaths here. Aiming to find a way to use as little effort as you can. So as long as it feels safe for you to really let go in that way and allow breath into all those spaces that you soften. Of course, each and all of us, our bodies are our own, so listening to the wisdom of your own body, staying here as long as this serves you, or perhaps you've come out or switched it up in some way. If you'd like, you could push your support a little farther forward to just drape your wrists over it. Let your forehead come to the mat or the ground for a breath or two. That might be helpful, just to be able to drape the wrists and feel that stretch a little bit differently. You might linger there a while, or rest your head on your hands. Maybe bend the knees and rock feet side to side, or circle them around a couple times each way, if that feels helpful or nourishing to the low back. And then no rush, just whenever you're ready from here. We're going to come into Pigeon with our support, so we don't lay all the way flat if that's usually your practice. And I'm going to show you an alternative here in just a moment, because if your knee isn't having it, which I've dislocated both of my kneecaps, so my knees weren't having it this particular time, and I'll come into that variation in a moment. But if you're able to, come into whatever Pigeon shape feels safe for you, that front foot and back foot. Check in with your knees if that feels safe, and then just only fold as far as you're able to really relax and doesn't feel like too big of a stretch. So if you usually fold all the way flat, maybe prop yourself up quite a bit here. And if you're gonna take the variation, if this isn't working for you, can't quite figure it out in your body or whatever, you're gonna flip right around onto your back. And then whichever leg you had in front, you're going to try to take that same shape, like figure 4, stretch this reclined pigeon. And you could be still, or you could rock side to side. You want to guide that bent leg away from you, though. So even if you hug the legs in, and this is deepening the stretch quite a bit, so you might keep that one foot planted. But the hip that's getting stretched, you want to be guiding that leg that's closest to you. You want to be guiding that away, even if you hug the legs in. And again, that's a pretty deep stretch for the hips, so you might prefer to keep the foot planted and just breathe there if that's plenty. Maybe rocking, maybe not. If you did hug the legs in and that felt okay and safe, you could extend the one leg and circle ankle a couple times each way, pointer flex. If you're practicing with us on IGTV, we'll leave you here to do the second side and to rest for as long as you like. If you're practicing with us here on YouTube, then taking your time in that second side. Things might be a little tighter or feel a little different than the first side, so just exploring that. Being curious about the sensations and continuing to check in with your body, breath. Only going so far into the stretch as you can, still breathing, still softening. Softening your eyes, letting your head and hips rest heavy, and deepening the stretch or exploring any options or variations that you'd like on the second side. And just whenever you're ready, taking your time to come out and just into any neutral shape, any simple neutral shape. Maybe letting your knees bend, knock in together, and feet can go a bit wide, resting your arms overhead, or maybe just stretching yourself all the way out long, or whatever shape your body is naturally fallen into that feels really good to just pause after those stretches. And when you're ready, you might feel called to move in some other ways that might have been missing from the practice. You might feel those kind of pulls or sensations, draws intuitively, or you might use some support of those blankets or bolster or pillows under your knees and come right into Shavasana for a final resting shape. And you're welcome to rest for as long as you like. So this is a great place for our body, our mind, our nervous system, our energy, our heart to really just process all of the work that we've just done. So it's really like the icing on the cake, this final resting shape. So you might feel more comfortable flipping to your belly or curling onto your side, or even just taking a nice seated meditation or resting on your back. You might stretch your arms overhead, make a pillow with your hands, or rest hands on your body. But this is your time to nourish your body, mind, and soul. So taking your time to make yourself physically as comfortable as you can so that mentally you can just drop in. And once in a while, when you begin to rest, you then feel called to move or stretch in some other way. So that may be the case for you, and you're welcome to do that. As was the case for me, I felt called to come into a back bend, so I did some work to kind of align that and set that up and take my time to explore that in between my Shavasana here. A bit non-traditional, but just making sure you know the invitation is open to just be still and to breathe and rest, or to go ahead and move in any other ways that your body may be feeling called to. Just keeping open those lines of communication between your physical body and your mind, your heart and your soul and your nervous system, and the way that you work and what you may need. Oftentimes, my body, heart, and mind feel deeply called to a restorative practice to heal kind of PTSD and manage symptoms, but sometimes I feel like I need a bit of strength and stretch as well. So we're all so very different. We have different stories, different bodies, different lives. I hope this practice has given you something to think about, piqued your curiosity, and as always, you're welcome to take from the practice what you need and to leave the rest. Open invitation to stay here resting for as long as your body, heart, or mind may need. Whenever you do feel called to, eventually, very slowly, gradually, Make your way back upright at some point. No rush, whether you do that now or in a few minutes. But maybe sit for a few moments and count your blessings, or just breathe, or count gratitude for this breath, this heart, this body, this life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace, peace, peace.